There has never been a better time to jump into World of Tanks console modern armor than there is right now, and of course that is exactly what I am doing. I'm giving the tech tree lines a go, and that is because of the new operation that has been released as with the kind of latest update on World of Tanks console, and that is in the form of the premium bonus event, where you can effectively get 50% more XP and 50% more silver when playing in any kind of vehicle leading up to the M1A2 Abrams, and also any vehicle leading up to the T-72BU, which is of course the Soviet original tank lines that were introduced as part of this. And you can obviously take advantage of that yourself, and effectively what you can also do is, as you get further in the tech tree lines, if you can manage to get your way up to the M1 or the M1A2 Abrams, or any of the Abrams in the third era, is when you take out Merkavas you can get extra silver. And so effectively you will be getting not only 1.5 times silver in Cold War, which is massive, but you'll also get an extra 25% silver for taking out Merkavas. And also if you combine that with the end of the season rewards that you get, where you can get an extra 25% silver, you can effectively get insane amounts of silver without even having to play premium tanks. And of course you're still grinding away towards all of the various different tanks. And I think from 0 to the Deton era you need about in the region of like 800,000 XP, and because of that, and because of the first win bonuses, etc., you can quite easily get quite a few thousand XP every single game. And if you combine that with some of the XP boosters that Wargaming keep giving out with all of these events that are going on right now, then you are definitely quids in to actually jump in, play it, get a ton of silver, get a ton of XP towards some of these tanks. And at the end of the day, the tech tree lines in Cold War are pretty fun to play. They're new, they're something different, and I mean, even if you purely do it just for the silver, it will be worth it for you, and that is something that I would really recommend you guys do. If you have the time, if you want to grind out some Cold War and earn yourself like millions, if not tens of millions of silver. I have managed to grind out so much silver within the last few days, and easily getting millions of silver an hour. I think I'm probably using ×2 silver boosts as well, so I'm earning about 400,000 silver every single game. And you'll see that at the end of this result, we weren't using silver boosters with this tank because, you know, I can use them and save them for later on, even though I have about 500 on the account from just various different things. But nonetheless, what you'll see here is the potential that you too will be able to take advantage of, and that's something I really want to promote on the channel, is all of these opportunities where you yourself can jump into the game and get a ton of cool rewards, and of course save yourself a load of time. That is ultimately what people do, or at least want to do. And if you were ever thinking about getting yourself some silver on the game, if you can't be asked to grind it out, definitely just think about the fact that you can earn millions of silver in 1 hour playing tanks that are pretty fun. You literally don't have to think about them whatsoever when you're playing them. I mean, you can have a very bad result in the M47 right now, which is of course the second kind of tank towards the M1A1 Abrams. And yeah, you can still earn like 170,000 silver a game, which is more than any World War II premium tank will be able to earn, and that's playing a tech tree tank. So yeah, it's just insane right now. It's definitely worth jumping in and actually playing yourself, and you'll be able to hopefully have games where you're able to do what you're going to see here. And I mean, even if you have a mediocre game, or a game where you feel like you could have done more, or maybe you were just not feeling it, then you can definitely have still have a crazy amount of silver. And that's ultimately what I like to use in Cold War for. It's just the general amount of silver you can just burn through whilst playing it, but also the amount that you can earn as well. And especially if you're a World War II player and you are just purely wanting to get as much silver as possible when you're playing, to be able to kind of grind through all of the different tech trees on World War II. That is exactly what it's for. You can see here just going around playing very chill, don't have to pay much attention. And yes, I probably should have paid a little bit more attention when shooting the FV4 4005, but I wasn't expecting to bounce it off of him nonetheless, and now we can just pump him with a few more shots. And of course, every single shot that you penetrate with standard rounds in Cold War means that you're making so much more silver than if you were to play on World War II right now. And it means that, yeah, you might spend 600 silver on one singular shot, but in terms of how much you're making back, you're probably making like 10k silver every single shot that you penetrate. So yeah, the rewards are amazing, and you can see here with a result that, you know, yielded about 1400 base experience, we still earn 170,000 silver in this game. We're using full premium consumables, and you can see we still picked up 10,000 vehicle XP. I was using ×4 XP boosters, so it's not your traditional, but you will still earn quite easily 2,000 to 3,000 silver XP per game, and of course 150,000 plus silver without using any boosters. Now I'm going to talk about the various different ways that you can also boost through a ton of XP, because yeah, talking about silver is really important, and of course if you're a player that's after silver, then yeah, you'll definitely be able to use this to your advantage. But most importantly, for those of you wanting to get to the top tiers, to the end goal as fast as possible, not only will you need silver, but you will also need to be performing, and I guess that that's one thing that you have to note. And so maybe I could offer a couple of opinions regarding how you can play both the M47, and not necessarily just this tank, but the entire tech tree leading up to the Abrams, and of course the T-72BU. Primarily the Abrams line is more like a medium tank line until you actually get to the Taunt era, which you may be able to bounce a few rounds, but even still, it's not particularly the nicest tank to be able to avoid taking shells. But that being said, you can still have some fantastic games throughout the various different ways in which you can play all of these different tanks. You've got things like the Starship, which effectively have like the T-49 sort of gun, where you can blast out a huge amount of damage really quickly with the tank, and yeah, then you've got to reload for about 20 seconds, or you can go with something like this, like the Pattern lines, where you're just dealing damage consistently, and if you're able to do that over a long period of time, you'll earn crazy amounts of silver. But getting back to the XP, what do you actually have to do to kind of maximize it for yourself and be able to potentially get what you want out of these vehicles if you do decide to play it? And I think that what you have to do is play these vehicles a little bit more passively than I see a lot of people play Cold War tanks. Like, people just YOLO in all of the time, and then they lose all of their health at the very beginning. Games on Cold War are super quick, which probably makes the amount of silver you can earn even more. I've just really thought about that, is the fact that they only last like 4 minutes every single game, comparatively to some of the other World War II games which can last up to 10 minutes sometimes. Cold War just basically never ever has that. But you can see here, we're kind of halfway through the game really. A lot of people have lost a lot of health, and so what you need to do is make sure that you never get caught out. You want to be kind of a very supportive role if you're trying to just be consistent, get a lot of XP, and essentially if you want to actually get better as well, because you can only practice when you're alive in the game, so trying to stay alive is something that's super important. Am I saying that you should be camping in Cold War? No. But what you need to do is not be the one that's kind of YOLOing straight into a load of people just because you're in a fast tank. And so, yeah, you get taken out regardless of whether you're in a fast tank a lot of the time. Anyway, what you can see me doing here is kind of moving away from where the opponents are so we can get into a better position. That better position is, of course, straight in front of me, up on top of this hill, if we can eventually get there. You can see me here aiming at the Centurion. We've got very slow rounds in this tank. They're not particularly the fastest, no APCR seen here, but we managed to track the T-55A, and we can try and consistently deal damage to him. You can see me aiming in front of him to get the lead on the tank. Of course, you want to be doing that in every single tank, so you can maximize how many hits you're doing, and of course in doing so get as much XP, and of course help your team out as much as possible, which means that you have a better chance of winning, which means more XP, which means more silver. Yes, just the list goes on from just being more consistent and thinking about it a little bit more, taking that extra second to just confirm that you are going to be able to hit. And of course, when you can, you want to be going for the tracks of any of the tanks that you'll be firing at, because essentially every single track shot is a potential to get assistance damage as well, which is of course very nice for your XP and silver. So if you can do the holistic approach to World of Tanks, especially World of Tanks console, then you're able to just farm up so much silver. And if you've ever come into a point where you're feeling like you don't really know what to do, you're a little bit bored of World War II, or maybe you've exhausted the tech tree lines, then I actually was an advocate to kind of stay playing World War II and play a lot of the vehicles. But it's kind of interesting to play some of these, albeit, you know, sometimes accuracy is still as bad on this mode as it is on the World War II mode. You can see me here going after the Leopard, and of course then the T95, just getting shafted by the amount of rounds just missing. Managed to land that one on the Type 773. I try and save my teammate, but it's just that little bit too late, and we can progress towards the T95E3, which is of course kind of a variant of the tank that you will be able to pick up for free in the game. If not, that is actually the tank that you can get for free as part of this this anniversary challenge that is basically the August monthly operation that you can take advantage of as well. So I really do highly recommend that you do that if you are available and you have the time to be able to grind through all of those. And of course, when you're doing that, you're effectively going to be able to get a premium tank for free whilst also being able to farm silver. So it's yet again another reason that you should be playing Cold War right now. Am I saying that you have to? Absolutely not. It's just a really great time to start if you haven't already, and that's why I am kind of giving it a start and go at the minute, because I don't want to waste any more time on the game as much by just grinding through extra games that I don't need to. So I'm going to be smart about it, and I am going to grind through the tech tree lines that are best for the time that I'm actually playing. And so yes, right now Cold War is the focus of my efforts on World of Tanks console, but don't worry, there'll still be predominantly World War II videos coming out on this channel unless you guys really enjoy these. But nonetheless, we have a few new tanks to kind of promote, or not promote, but to actually showcase, since I've gone out and bought a lot of the US tech tree, and I've gone out and bought a lot of the French tech tree as with the sale. So I want to showcase some of the lesser known tech tree tanks that are in World of Tanks console and what you can do with them, and of course some of the weirder, kind of more obscure tanks that you can still have a bundle of fun playing in. And that's primarily what this channel is all about. It's not necessarily about premiums all the time, although Wargaming seem to be spamming those out at the minute for Cold War. It seems like every tank that comes out is a premium, unless it's the 3 tech tree tanks that come out with every season, and of course they're always for Cold War. Still waiting for some World War II premium tech tree tanks, and then I can kind of grind and focus my efforts towards those. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what you guys think about the timing of all of these events and being able to kind of go in and play all of these various Cold War vehicles, and of course these events that are going on right now. That was the focus of today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, because it does actually really help out the channel. And of course, don't be afraid to check out some of the other gameplay and tank reviews. We've gone through loads of Cold War premiums, we've gone through tons of World War II premiums, so check out that as well on the channel. And of course some of the other tech tree vehicles and showcases on how you can get better at World of Tanks console or should be on screen right now for you to have a look at. So thank you very much, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.